There exists within the niche of Christmas films the sub-genre of anti-Christmas films. Films that satirize every notion of the holiday, or films that meet all the criteria of a Christmas film but add copious amounts of violence, or films that say family is great and all, but they're a bit much around the holiday season. But of all the great anti-Christmas films we watch each year, the one I've connected with the most is a film we haven't even had the chance to watch as a yearly tradition. One that asks, how do I celebrate Christmas when I'm so unloved? My favorite anti-Christmas film, and this year's Christmas movie masterpiece, 2023's The Holdovers. The Holdovers was directed by Alexander Payne and stars Dominic Sessa, Paul Giamatti, and Davine Joy Randolph. The film takes place during winter break in 1970 at a New England boarding school and follows a curmudgeonly history teacher, Mr. Hunnam, a troubled student with nowhere to go, Angus Tully, and a cook, Mary Lamb, who's lost her son in Vietnam. And the film shows the three all stuck together at school over Christmas vacation. The performances in the film are great. Not only do the actors have great chemistry together, but individually they all have their moments to shine. Davine Joy Randolph eats up every scene she's in with heaps of emotion. Paul Giamatti has always been a very good actor, but he's entertaining as hell in what might be my favorite performance of all his roles. My favorite performance, though, is the star of the movie, Dominic Sessa, in his first film role as Angus Tully. This kid has a future. He's so much fun to watch, yet he still does amazing in serious moments, and he does such a great job at finding the essence of his character and bringing him to life. Dominic Sessa is definitely a great find, and I'm excited to see what he does next. Although I love films like American Psycho or Taxi Driver that show the destruction that's a result of society's apathy towards mental health, I prefer much more films like The Holdovers that show down-to-earth stories with characters like you or I struggling with their mental health and healing through human connection. It may sound boring, especially compared to American Psycho and Taxi Driver, but I feel that these types of films like The Holdovers, are much more constructive in that they show people healing rather than blaming the character's issues on someone else. I said earlier this is an anti-Christmas film, and I think that's a very beautiful thing. It's because this movie asks why there's such a need to be so festive for the holiday season. When a Mother Mary who's unfairly lost her son, and a young man who seeks anything to make himself feel whole again, and an unloved man who doesn't even believe in the Christian religion are stuck creating a makeshift family together, it seems they find much more solace in each other than in the holiday itself. In fact, Christmas is just another day in this film. Nowadays, it feels so disappointing to see Christmas come and go as if it were Valentine's Day or Labor Day. We all want to go back to when we were kids and we were excited all month for Christmas. Then suddenly one day it stops. Everything you loved about being a kid stops and the Christmas spirit doesn't come anymore. How can you celebrate Christmas without the Christmas spirit? How can you have the Christmas spirit if you haven't been happy in years? How could you even begin to be happy again? The film shows the characters asking themselves these questions and silently answering. The characters heal together and show each other the love they need this Christmas. The film looks to all those who can't feel the same about Christmas anymore and tells you that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just not a kid anymore. Because to be a kid on Christmas is a metaphor for being happy in the moment, your thoughts blissfully glued to the present. To be a kid on Christmas is to want to be showered with gifts. After that, to be who you are now on Christmas is to want to be loved. What adds the most to the charm of The Holdovers is the way it's shot. To achieve a cozy 1970s movie atmosphere, the film is made to look as if it was shot on film. It's edited using such little cuts as if it were edited like movies on film strips were edited. And it uses camera work such as the whip zoom and slow tracking that were popularly used in the 70s. So why make the film look like it was shot in the 1970s? Aside from the movie taking place at the time, this was during the American New Wave of film, a movement that had gained significant momentum by 1970 when The Holdovers takes place. The American New Wave made way for some of the most famous filmmakers we know today. Filmmakers such as Martin Scorsese, Woody Allen, Brian De Palma, Francis Ford Coppola, George Lucas, and Steven Spielberg. It was a movement inspired by previous new waves of film from around the world, laying the groundwork for American appreciation of international cinema. It ended Hollywood's restrictive Hays Code and let storytellers' creativity run free without having to worry about creating cinema that was too explicit to be released. The American New Wave represented the time well. When the world changed and Americana seemed to be redefined, film changed with it, using incredibly human stories to show beauty in the ugliest sides of the world that had become clearer and clearer. Escapism at its finest. In referring to that revolutionary time in American cinema, The Holdovers subtly tells you the heartwarming theme of the movie. While nothing will be the same again, and perhaps some things may get worse, there's still beauty to be found in the connections we make with even seemingly the most miserable parts of humanity around us. The Holdovers is a wonderful movie that I'd love to make into a holiday tradition, and I'm starting this year. Of course, The Holdovers is most comparable to the 1989 film Dead Poets Society, another beautiful film taking place in a New England boarding school that deals with similar subjects, such as depression, expression, class, and domineering parents. If you felt nostalgic from this movie at all, or you just like movies set in the 1970s, some of my favorite movies set in that time are You There God, It's Me, Margaret, Super 8, 52577, The Black Phone, Almost Famous, American Hustle, Licorice Pizza, and for sure, Boogie Nights. If you like comfort films that constructively deal with mental health, I would recommend Harold and Maude and Silver Linings Playbook.
The fuck?
And if you like that The Holdovers is a cozy film that uses creative camera work to tell human stories, I would recommend the films of my all-time favorite filmmaker, Yasujiro Ozu. It was his 120th birthday and 60th death anniversary last week, and I was working on a video to celebrate his legacy, and then my editing software decided to ruin my day and crash and delete half my progress. So that video is for next year. In the meantime though, the Ozu films you should watch if you like cozy movies are Late Spring, The Flavor of Green Tea Over Rice, Tokyo Story, Good Morning, and save his greatest film for last, An Autumn Afternoon. Well, looks like that's going to be about it for this Christmas. Before you leave, why don't you tell me what your go-to comfort film is for the holidays? For me, The Holdovers is definitely going to be one of them, but for now, it's A Charlie Brown Christmas and It's a Wonderful Life. Good movies. After you tell me about that, you can head on out. Stay safe and watch good movies. Merry Christmas.